actually really happy for Jeannie Mai and Jeezy. If you haven't heard already, they recently shared a photo shoot that they did in Greece where they announced that they're expecting that they're going to be having their first kid after getting married this year. So I'm happy for them. I think, that's a great thing. Now, I know their relationship in general has caused a lot of controversy, and some of the main criticism I've heard is this. Here is a successful black man that chooses to marry a non-black woman and essentially share his wealth with a non-black woman when he has kids from black women. So that's the main criticism I've heard. And usually, I hear follow with that.
I said, this black man probably don't even like black girls. He probably doesn't even talk to black women. He probably don't even think twice about black girls at all whatsoever.
The complaint that many black men are doing this, and it seems like all the good black men are leaving black women, yada, 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 yada. So, I just want to address, and I've said this before, and I'll say this again. At the end of the day, Jeezy is not representative of everybody. They have a very unique case. Here, Jeannie Mai is, she got married in her 40s. She's having her first kid in her 40s. Jeannie Mai is not your typical woman. You know what I mean? Jeezy is not your typical man. And so we certainly can't look at them as, representatives of their community and think that everybody is doing that. That's just not the case. Secondly, again, if we go back to what is actually happening, 85% of black men marry black women. It is what it is. And so I really struggle sometimes when it seems like there is an overwhelming amount of content where black women in particular are complaining about black men marrying out, when we know statistically black men are still choosing by and large to marry black women. About 83% of black men who make $100,000 or more are married to black women. 70% of college educated black men are married to black women. So even with that, it's like by and large black men are still marrying black women. And so I really hate it when I see stories like this and then this is used to push a narrative. That's just not really true. Now, there are people who are obviously marrying out, and we also see, black women being promoted to marrying out. But to me, that's just not the bigger issue. I don't think we should look at situations like this and just say, oh, this is what's happening all the time. Black men are always getting successful and then they're marrying out, as if, because that's not always true. And I think it paints this picture, this narrative that, men are self-hating and it causes dissension within the black community. And that's just unhelpful because it's just based upon a false premise. People are marrying out, you know what I mean? But most people in the black community are marrying in. If we just look at the stats, that's just what it is. So I just wanted to address that because, like I said, I don't think, although I'm happy for them, I don't think this story should be used to push a false narrative, which I've seen this be the case, and I think that's unhelpful. Now, here is what I think this situation suggests about black men. I believe, and again, I could be wrong, but I believe if I was to take a poll today, that if I was to, ask your average black man, which is worse, which has done more harm to the black community, racism or feminism, I believe a large portion of them would say that feminism has harmed them more. Now, of course, this wouldn't be every black man. There are certainly black men out there who are a lot more liberal, who are pushing for more modernity, who are very much feminist leaning. So that certainly does exist. But there is also a large portion of black men out there who see feminism as their enemy. And so I believe, and again, this is just my opinion, but I believe Jeezy could have looked at that comment or listened to that comment that she made a few years ago and said, okay, you know what? Maybe that was discriminatory, but at least she's not a feminist. If she is willing to submit to me, if she is willing to be in my program, if she's willing to maybe work with me, if she doesn't want to compete with me, I'll go for that. At least she's not a feminist. And it's crazy. It is crazy to say that, but I literally think, and again, this is just my opinion, just observing and seeing the way that whole thing played out, I literally think that is one of the reasons he was just like, I'm gonna wife her up. I don't really know much about her previous, or I don't know much about, Jeezy's previous situations or Jeezy's previous relationships. But one could only speculate. Was it because he felt like the women previously were too feminist? Did he have a hard time finding women who we felt like were going to be supportive or cooperative? Who knows? If he was looking for more of a traditional woman, what it sounds like he was, and Jeannie Mai, as modern or as much of a boss babe as she was, if she was willing to take on that traditional role, then he's like, I will overlook a rude or silly or discriminatory or racist comment. I will overlook that for a woman who is willing to put away feminism. And I think that right there is really what put her over the edge. I think that is what, made him say, she's it. This is it. So, those are just my thoughts. But what do you think? Let me know. Leave your questions and comments in the comment section below. And thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far. And we'll talk later. Bye.